Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelorette Nation News, and this is our last day of 2021. It's been a year, folks. We've made hundreds of videos. We've talked about everything under the sun and some things behind the sun, and here we are, Bachelor fans becoming enraged by Bachelor contestants not wearing their masks. Are you going to go out without your mask on? Did you wash behind your ears? Now, listen, okay, I'm making light of it, right? We're a comic here. Making light of it, but we have a real issue at hand. We've got a virus that's been raging in our country for 2 years now, before we even knew what it was, right? And we've got mandates in some states and mandates in others. We've got the federal government saying, oh, the state's in charge. And then the state's like, well, the municipalities are in charge. And the municipalities are like, what's a municipality? I can't even pronounce it. So we've got a huge issue. And it's one of the things that's made our country the powerhouse that it is or was. The fact that we don't have one dictatorship, but we have little pockets of jurisdictions, and we have the presidential, the executive branch, the congressional. We have all these different kind of foolproof ways to keep one person from getting too much control. And throughout that process, it's led to just chaos out there. It's just chaos. So, of course, there's going to be Bachelor Nation fans that are upset when they see a photo of Michelle without a mask on indoors. Ooh, right? And, of course, we need to do our part to critically think as best as possible when it comes to ourselves and when to wear a mask. Like, you might live in a state where there's no mask mandate, but if you see someone coughing and yakking next to you, maybe you put a mask on, right? And you may live in a state where there's nothing but mask mandates. I remember when the pandemic started, we had nothing else to do, lived in a studio apartment in Los Angeles. I'd go for a jog. My fiance, you going to put a mask on? Heck no, I'm not going to put a mask on. I'm running outside. Like, to me, I was able to sort of ascertain my whole, like, put a mask on. Like, if you can fart in a street and not worry if someone's going to smell it, you don't need a mask. You know what I mean? Like, that was my barometer that I would go with. The only time I wore a mask when I went on a run was when there was a wildfire and I put a KN95 mask on, which I do wear and follow all the policies. I followed all the vaccination policies, booster shots, and live in one of the, I would say, stricter climates for the mask mandate. And when you live in a city, this is the way it is. And having traveled, I get to see other cities. I've been to weddings in Michigan where you wouldn't even think that you could buy a mask. You know what I mean? Masks. Who's wearing a mask? And then I've been in places like New York City where you show your vaccine card to get into places because they want to make sure everyone's following the same protocols. So we'll get into it. We'll talk about it. And if this is too triggering for you, I understand. I truly do. It's an exhausting topic and a weird way to end the year. Speaking of topics to end the year, I made a video on my Patreon called the Top 10 Grossing Videos of 2021, and I shared with you guys the behind-the-scenes look of how much some of my videos have made this year, okay? There's plenty of videos. It's like, just because you strike one guy out doesn't mean the next guy's going to be a home run. So some of these videos tanked, but these are the top 10, and I'll share with you just like a 5-second clip of one of them. Just because all of my top videos are $1,000, I wouldn't say that's the
This
average.
one made $1,100.
I would say the average. I mean, it's hard. Like I said, it's hard to say. Oh, I clicked on the wrong button here.
So if you want to watch my top 10 video, I'm not going to play the whole video, but I'm going to discuss each one of them. You'll be surprised. There's a Victoria Larson one in there. There's a Claire Crowley one in there. No Katie Thurston. Katie Thurston didn't make the top 10. She made a bunch of, like, she was hitting a lot of doubles during the summer, okay? Obviously, Rachel Kirkconnell, Chris Harrison. There's videos like that. So you can go to my Patreon, and that's patreon.com/Dave Neal. It's a membership-only community, but the cost is as little as $5 a month. It's a way for me to make content that's exclusive to a membership community that's a little different than what I make here. I don't make those types of content on this channel because they don't perform as well, and it's good to reward people with some behind the scenes stuff. All right, so we'll get back into this here. So this is the original post, right? And again, we're going to try our best to not make everything political. Although I will say that there will be a video coming out next, which is Brian Abasolo making a donation to the Republican Senatorial Election Committee in 2020. We're going to talk about that. But if you think that we're blindly on one side of the aisle versus the other, then you're on the wrong channel. Because I am a progressive person. I vote for progressive issues. I believe we're getting robbed left and right by our government. I believe that there's so much insider trading happening amongst all parties, and it's a complete mess. And as a progressive, I don't align with the Democratic Party, and I don't align with the Republican Party. I truly don't. And if someone blindly aligns with one versus the other, I do ask you to reconsider and critically think what's wrong within the party, because it shouldn't be voting for the lesser of two evils. It should be about, don't make me do this, guys. I'll do it. It should be about kind of holding our leaders, our elected officials, to a standard that we want. And I feel like most people, when you break down what they actually want, fit into progressives. I truly do. Met a ton of people that were Bernie Sanders fans and then switched over to Trump. We'll get into all of it. I think it's going to be a long year when it comes to these midterms that are coming out in 2022. That's part of the problem. But one of the problems that we have here is our lack of ability to, well, I'll put it this way. One of the biggest problems we have with this, with the maskers versus anti-maskers, is that we're set on one side and we will fight or die to stay on that side. I don't see anybody else in this store. I don't even know what the mask mandates are for Michelle, but of course she posts this, and then we immediately have a pile-on that happens. Now, just a couple days ago, we had Tayshia Adams posting without a mask on in an airport. Listen, if you take your mask off to make a post and you're socially distanced from other people, I'm not upset with that. I am not upset with that. Airports make you wear a mask every step of the way, and I think they do the best job of any sort of either government. Airports aren't governments, but they do the best job of like making sure everyone follows the rules. Okay, which means, you know, people deciding they're gonna not want to wear them in an airplane. It's like, all right, pull this ship over. Let's go. Get out. Come on. These are the rules. You know, these are the rules. You can question them all you want, but when you question them at the level where legislation's made, not the poor sap who's trying to follow the rules. So anyway, we've got Michelle here. We'll read a few comments. They deleted the post. I guess this was on Nate's page here, and it's Michelle. I don't know if she's got a mask on her chin. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter because when I look at this as a critical thinker, I'm not necessarily just a blatant rule follower. Even if this was a store that required a mask, I don't see there any harm being caused right now, and that's the way I look at it, okay? It doesn't mean they're walking willy-nilly through the store coughing on cashiers. It just means they took a photo, boop, and that's it. Okay, they deleted it. I'm in LA where mask mandates never stopped, so I'm always shocked to see pics like this. But the more YouTube videos and other content I watch from other cities, it seems rare for people to wear masks indoors. We also have like a PTSD, which, listen, I don't say PTSD lightly. My father died of PTSD. He was in the Vietnam War, passed away, Agent Orange, and PTSD. End of the year, and I don't take this lightly, but PTSD comes in different shapes and sizes. It's a triggering that happens in your brain due to trauma that has already happened, right? I had mild PTSD after a bad accident I was in 5 years ago. I didn't think I had PTSD until someone crept up behind me, and it shocked me. And I still once in a while get kind of spooked on this side because that's the side I was run over from. So it exists in different. I don't mean to say that as some sort of like I playing a victim here. It's just it's a trigger that happens, and I've seen the heartbreak that happens with PTSD in other forms. And we do have that collectively as a society. I'm not to say Omicron is not a disease we should not be taking seriously in this pandemic, but it is no means what we had 2 years ago when we didn't know what we were working with. We were spraying down our produce left and right. Okay? It's not a disease that you're catching from touching surfaces. It's not, and again, don't get your news from me, folks. Don't get it from me. But the way I see it, and from the work I've done, traveling across the country, even out of the country, and talking to other people in different countries, vaccines that they're getting or trying to get, and the different policies. I was in Belize, and they have a very strict COVID policy. They have a very strict, you get tested as you come in and as you leave, and getting back into the U.S. So anyway, I look at this, and I see, I see how troubling it is that we're all just on like whatever side we're on, and we're going to like expose others for not taking things seriously because we have a PTSD of the initial 2-3 week period where we weren't moving. We were all in on this together. We're not moving. Well, that's not where we live in the society anymore. We're not putting those mandates back. As far as I know, no government official has said we're going to go back to those initial mandates. It didn't work because we all didn't do it. And that's just how it is. The whole world, it spread like wildfire. And the Omicron the same way. It's very much like we all decided we were going to get the vaccine, and when you have the vaccine, you're able to live your life. That doesn't mean be reckless. That means you're just able to live your life. You're able to go to a comedy show where you can take your mask off and eat food while you watch a comedian on stage tell jokes. You're able to go to a coffee shop with your friends, and you're able to go to barbecues. I mean, this is the world we agreed we would be able to do once we got vaccinated to a certain level. Now, did we get there? Did we get vaccinated to that certain level? Maybe, maybe not. Does the Omicron variant work in some weird way at immunizing people that would have never gotten the vaccine? Maybe. We have to understand that part of the vaccine mandate, part of the everyone gets vaccinated, is a failure because people decided they weren't going to do it. We have audience members that got fired from their jobs in different countries. This isn't just a U.S. issue, right? So we watch this go down and we go, if it ain't working, now what do we do? And it might be that a very mild version of COVID runs rampant and everyone gets it. And trust me, everyone's getting it. I don't say this from a place of a fatal point of view. I'm staying in tonight on New Year's Eve. Let me know. Leave a comment if you guys want a New Year's Eve live stream. I was thinking about doing a 10 p.m. East Coast 3-hour live stream. Would you guys be a part of that? We'll do a champagne toast. Let me know if anyone would actually watch. I don't want to waste my time putting together a live stream if we're not going to be there. But if anyone wants, I'm thinking about doing it tonight, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. We never stopped wearing masks in New York City either. I've been wearing a mask out all week at home in North Carolina, but I'm definitely in the minority. I live in a different world. It's a different world down here. So again, I see it. I have family in rural and suburban places, and of course, living in a city, I see it. So people got upset that they were calling out Michelle, because obviously Michelle has fans, and when you call out one person, you have to call out everybody, and that means our friends. That means you have to call out everybody, and I just don't see that being a productive place when we're just calling people out 2 years after the initial stay-at-home order, right? So people started posting on Reddit, COVID call out of Bachelor Nation, 2 different parts. And they basically just called out every single person, I'm going to flip through this here, that didn't have a mask on indoors. Now, was this a fully vaccinated wedding? Probably not. Probably not, because I'm sure they're not testing at the doors. I went to a vaccinated wedding this fall or late summer, and they didn't test. It was just kind of assumed. Don't show up if you're not vaccinated. But I've also been at family gatherings where I know people are refusing to get the vaccine, and it's like, look, I'm going to try my best to not transfer anything to anybody, but at the same time, these are choices people have made, and we have to realize they're not budging. So, Zach Clark inside, I'm vaccinated. Tyler in front of people. Michael, Mikey, Greg was someone right there. Cute girl. I think it's a French girl he was dating. Indoors at a basketball game or a fight, whatever that was, different places. But we have to understand, they're following the rules. They're at the Bills game. No one's wearing a mask. They're outside. They're following the rules. Just like Matt James, they're following the rules. A lot of these photos are from the pre-Omicron height that's happening right now. And I think that's where we have to live. I think we have to look at it like on a day-to-day. Be willing to change our point of view about what's going on in the world, where we are today, and where we were 6 weeks ago when Omicron wasn't even a word we used. By the way, I pronounce it Omicron. A lot of people saying Omicron. I'm no expert in the Greek alphabet here, but I was in a fraternity, and Omicron sounds like what it is. But if it's Omicron, I apologize there. I don't really apologize. I don't really care. All right. So then, of course, it's just one after another. So they post this, and people go, "Come on, what are we doing?" And it's like, is this post here to take it seriously, or is it to show, look, are we really going to be calling out every single person and not understand the backstory of do they take the thing down to take a photo? Are we really going to be tattletaling on every single person here when there are greater issues within the pandemic to be discussing? And maybe people will leave a comment and go, Dave, you're so tone deaf to this issue right now. My uncle died of COVID, this and that. Yeah, I mean, literally half of my friends in LA right now have COVID, okay? I've got a couple family members, including my fiance, who are immunocompromised, and we don't want the mild version of COVID, which Omicron is a more mild version, which can still affect people, but we don't want to take it lightly for the people that are in positions where this could affect them, obese, older, the different things that we're seeing that COVID is actually triggering the response that's making people extra sick, right? But the PTSD exists, that we're just we're treating this COVID test like we treated different pandemics, where it's like a life or death thing that's happening here. And will it be something that we just have to live with? I think there needs to be better. And again, this also comes back to our healthcare system. Our healthcare system is so messed up, right? That I think most hospitals have always made their profit off of elective surgeries in our country. If you live in the other countries, you might not realize this. Like hospitals, they make their money off of elective surgeries. They charge more. Maybe it's not covered by insurance. I'm not really sure of the logistics by it, but we have a bad program. We have a flawed system here. So when the pandemic started to happen and hospitals were they were, the elective surgeries were put to the side. It was like, no, we need to, there's a triage happening. We need to like treat the people in the ICUs and this and that. That's just, it just shows how flawed it is. Every hospital, across our country should all be talking to each other every single day in a network. And if a hospital reaches, and I don't know what level this is, but if a hospital reaches 60% capacity, then maybe we put more restrictions on to curb the virus. But it's not going back into the lab or wherever the hell it came from. Okay, it's not. So all the best that we can hope for is that it becomes mild enough that it's less dangerous than the common cold, and it's just something that we live with. Maybe you get boosters, maybe different, whatever it is. Anyway, I sound like a nut talking about it because we just live in a time in our world where if you sound like you're an anti-masker, if you sound like you're an anti-vaxxer, we're like, oh, he's one of them. Well, instead of being one of them, let's just trust that everyone, and we started the video this way and we're going to end it this way. Let's trust that everyone's operating with the best information they have. And let's understand that there's a lot of people in the media making good money. There's a lot of anti-vaxxers making good money promoting fear. So rather than being afraid, because I've got family members who go, Dave, just don't be afraid of things. It's like, listen, I'm not afraid of a coronavirus. I'm not afraid in a sense where I'm like, no. It's about doing your part to help not spread it, but also realizing where we are today, that it's not the same virus or variant that we had weeks or months ago. And we just need to keep a close eye on it and adjust and be okay adjusting what we do, where we go on the day-to-day as things sort of ebb and flow with the transmission and, pockets that it's raging. And it's raging right now. So I don't say it all lightly. I'll be home the rest of the day. We got the champagne. We're cooking steaks tonight, and it's going to be a home-cooked New Year's Eve. Leave a comment and let me know if you'd watch tonight, and I'll decide this afternoon if we're going to do a New Year's Eve live stream. I think a lot of people are staying home this New Year's. All right, we got more content coming your way. As always, keep it peaceful in the comment section. Join the Patreon if you want to check out the behind-the-scenes video. We'll see you later. Bye, guys.